Sangye chonan soki chognam la jangchu pardu dagni kapsuchi dagi chinsoki pesanam ki chola pinjir sangye drupar shog sangye chonan soki chognam la jangchu pardu dagni kapsuchi dagi chinsoki pesanam ki chola pinjir sangye drupar shog. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until complete enlightenment, from merit, from giving, and the rest. In order to aid all, may we attain Buddhahood. So just taking sometimes that moment or two to recollect our breath, our presence, definitely our sense of humor. That helps buy us a little time from when we notice impatience is there to create a kind of a gap so that we don't get caught with afflictive emotions. And often we know it really well for ourselves that if we start to feel impatient with a situation, we usually blame a person. We say that one's the cause of my impatience, or all these activities are the reason for me losing my impatience, too much busyness, too much responsibility. But in fact, it's not true, actually. It's not true. It doesn't happen that way. We lose our patience inside. We lose only our quality of being patient is only inside of our own mind and our heart. It's easy to have a habit where we blame the outside world, but in fact, there's no outside world really in a big bad way to blame. It's our own mind's limits that we reach when we feel tightness. That's what impatience is. It's a tightness of mind. It's constricting. There's not a clarity and spaciousness and a clear view. And so we need the practice of awareness, taking our breath meditation to come back in, looking in, to check up on the state and status of our mind. So when I was with Jetsuma at her nunnery for those years as her assistant and assisting to the nunnery, I often heard her tell people when they'd ask her, what's the best meditation that you learned in your practice? What do you still practice? And I saw her practice this way too. She said her best meditation was she learned from a yogi at Tashijong at her teacher's monastery. And the yogi said, 3 times every hour, check your mind, check the state of your mind. You can pick 3 times, like the top of the hour, at the half of the hour, and then 15 minutes before the hour. It might be beneficial to try to set 3 distinct times. But as often as we can come back to checking up on the state of our mind every hour, if it can be more than 3, that's great, but at least 3 is even hard to start with. That's why I suggest to add in the top of the hour, at the half of the hour, and quarter of the hour. You just stop then and check, where's your mind? Where's your mind resting? Is it very open, aware, peaceful, settled? If it's not, can you just get it there by taking a few breaths in and out, bringing it back to just clear awareness? Ideally, without thought, without concepts. That's a hard ask, but at least just your deep awareness of breath. Because if you're only focused on breath, the other concepts and thoughts, they cannot arise. If your practice is good enough, you can become focused on being aware of being aware. In other words, your awareness is focused on awareness itself. That's ideal. That's a very high level practice, but we can work towards that. But coming back is so important, because if we don't build in the habit of checking the status of our mind regularly, consistently, one might even say religiously, You don't have to say that. Some people don't like that word, but a little sense of humor is good. If we make that the core of our practice, that's so important, because then we will find out very quickly how it's our own mind habits that really are to blame for when we don't have peace of mind. Nothing can disturb us from outside. If our mind is settled, clear, aware, not being drawn into thought, not being drawn into sensation, not being drawn into perception, not being drawn into emotion, then we're in control of our mind. We have awareness. But if our mind is disturbed and we feel agitated, usually we start saying something about that, telling a story about why it's that way, then we've lost the peace of mind. So that's the practice that we need, every hour of every day. And even in our dreams, we can become aware of the content of our dreams. Are they beneficial? Do we wake up feeling refreshed? Maybe we don't remember the dreams, but we go to sleep with a virtuous peace of mind, patient, grateful for having a day, grateful for the challenges, grateful for the flow and wonderful things that came. Then we have a very deep, virtuous sleep. We can wake up and start our practice in the morning again. Half an hour meditation, breathing in, breathing out, hour meditation, whatever your morning practice is. We've remembered to say our refuge prayers in the morning. In the evening, we've remembered to say bodhicitta. And even when obstacles arise, we don't give up, we don't give in, we don't blame anybody, we don't beat ourselves up about anything. We just meet the situation for how it is. This is really, all these practices require being patient with oneself, being dedicated to one's practice, changing habits. So making that a habit every hour on the hour checking. Maybe it just is good to start with one time an hour. Jetsama was already like quite an advanced practitioner when that yogi gave her that instruction of how to practice her meditation the best. Maybe for us, we could even just start one time an hour. Every hour in the hour, we check in with our mind and say, what's my state of mind? Am I aware of it or not? And that's all. And if you're not aware, you just become aware. That's it. And no judging, like it doesn't have to be a good state of mind, or doesn't have to be a state of mind that you're going to change. It can be a little bit cranky. It can be a little bit scattered. It can be blissful. It can be joyful. It can be hungry, whatever's your state of mind that you're able to notice that your mind's drawn to, you just notice that's what's going on in that moment. You don't try to change it into anything. You're just bringing awareness. And actually anything that you find is fine, because finding it and becoming aware of it, that's the whole practice, is that awareness. You don't need to change or try to make it be anything other than it is. You just need the awareness of what is. Then if you find, oh, actually I'm quite grumpy, and it's not just because I need to get some food, but my mind is actually feeling agitated, because if we are hungry, if our body's hungry, it cannot make our mind be agitated. Those are two separate things. But often we affiliate not having eaten enough to then getting hungry, and the body's giving hunger sensations. Then we're reacting with a bad mood. One of my young student friends told me they call that hangry, when you're hungry and you get angry. I don't know if you heard that term before. I thought it was funny. You get hangry. But they're two separate things. Hunger is hunger from a physical need, and anger is frustration because you've lost your peace of mind over the body's being hungry. But they're not necessarily related in the sense that one will definitely cause the other. Because when I get hungry, I don't get angry. I just think, oh, I need to get something to eat. And sometimes when I'm short with myself or impatient, that's the beginning of anger. I don't really get angry very often, but when I'm feeling like a little agitated, that's the beginning of anger. I don't feel hungry. generally when that happens, so we can see they're not causally always linked. Sure, sometimes they might be, but they're really not, because hunger is a physically driven sensation and anger is a mental state of emotion. So we need clarity about deep understanding, and of course, we need a deep compassion. We need a deep compassion that's informed with this kind of wisdom. So this is, how we use our moment. So we're taking our Maine Moment meditation this May 1st, beginning this new month and this new week of a Monday with awareness, with wisdom and compassion. Super, that's great. That's the beginning of the rest of the week, focusing on patience and using the tools of awareness, wisdom, and compassion to be able to cultivate more patience. You can think of a patience like a little seed that we're going to plant in our experience, in our awareness. So with everything that arises, we'll be patient with whatever sensations the body's feeling. We'll be patient with whatever our speech is saying, whether it's nice speech, whether it's agitated speech. We'll just be patient. We won't judge good or bad. We'll just say, oh, okay, let's be patient with whatever's happening right now. And that patience in our mind, with coming once every hour, every day, to awareness of what's on the mind. We'll be patient with whatever we find. We won't judge. We'll just be patient. Sometimes we'll like it. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes we'll be neutral about it. But it's okay. Just be patient. You're remembering to do the practice. You're building your patient muscle. Like if we go for a walk to keep healthy, or we take weights to build the arm muscle, then we're using this practice to build a patience muscle. Sometimes things go really well and wonderfully, and people say nice things. Sometimes they go difficult. People say short things. We'll just be patient right down the middle. We won't cling to the praise and also push away from blame. Or even sometimes we don't even push away from blame. We cling to blame. We take that as serious. We take the praise as serious. We take the blame as serious. We'll just leave them both. Just be patient with everything. We have patient practice all the time in traffic. We have patient practice watching the news. We have patience practice with our family, with our loved ones, our dear ones. We have patience practice with, our spiritual community, being in the Sangha together, even trying to set up this Zoom and coming on to joining it. Lots of difficulties finding the link, getting connected. Maybe people trying to get a link now that's online, that's not an active link, not letting people join. So now people aren't able to join. We have to just be patient and not really give in and give up on when obstacles arise, but continue to practice. And what I find inspiring is everyone keeps continuing to practice. All the masters are still practicing. Jetsuma used to say to me, Dasel, we're all just still practicing. So it's not really like you are going to get to a point in life where it's like, oh, good, I'm done practicing. I don't need to practice anymore. His Holiness is still practicing. Kenzo Rinpoche is still practicing. Many enlightened and advanced practitioners, enlightened in the sense that they know the true nature of reality, but every day they still are living, they're still practicing in the Dharma. And in fact, the better your practice gets, the more people come to you with their problems, with their challenges, with their heartaches. And your practice is a source of solace and strength for you. That's why they're coming, knowing that you're a presence in this world that can help hold with wisdom and compassion what's arising for others. That also takes patience. So the chapter 6 in the Bodhisattva way of life is really, all the whole chapter is devoted to patience. And the Shantideva says his name actually means the peace deva, like the divinity of peace. Shanti means peace in Sanskrit. And says that if you can master this perfection, this one, you'll have them all, like everything in the palm of your hand, and it's patience. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama will teach again and again and again, chapter 6 and chapter 8 on patience and on meditation. So let's go into our meditation now. I'm just going to invite each of us. Last week I said I would do the Aryatara, and we'll do that at the end. But just right now, I would like to use these next maybe 5 or 10 minutes to get really clear about what we can use as our patience practice. I'll set a little timer. Let's just go into calm, abiding shamatha. Try to pick something that you think you really know is your bad habit that makes you impatient. We're all quite old now, so I think we know what that is. I definitely know what it is for me. Be honest about it. Why? Because we can change it, so we want to pick the hardest one so that we can really work on that one, because that's the one that gives us the most difficulties. So we're going to take, like 8 minutes to really go into this habit that makes us irritated, irritable, that makes others irritated with us, that really robs us like a thief of our peace of mind. Just bring this one very clearly to mind now, please. Take this 8 minutes, just 8 minutes of sitting in shamatha, being very patient and aware of that habit. And bring lots and lots of compassion and lots of courage and appreciation to yourself for bringing this awareness up so that this habit can be transformed. And as you call the habit to mind, you can feel maybe the discomfort that comes with it, tightness or judgment, frustration, because it's a hard habit to change and it's still with us. Probably something that we are familiar with for a long time. And also bring to mind that we're not the only one who has this kind of a habit. So now let a lot of compassion come in. The habit doesn't have its own life anywhere. It doesn't exist at all independently. And it doesn't exist even within our own mind. If we look for it, we can't find that habit. But it's just a pattern that we get caught in, that our mind gets caught up in and feels very real. And it's a response pattern that we developed before we met Buddhism, before we met meditation, long beforehand. And so now what we're doing is bringing awareness to this habit with wisdom and compassion. The wisdom is the empty nature of it, that it doesn't truly have essential, real, independent power over us. And likewise, with our awareness, it starts to even weaken, just with the awareness of the nature of the habit being non-existent, non-tangible, non-solid, not something that has a power over us. If we just start to look at it carefully, it begins to dissolve. And similarly, if we look at judgments that we might hold around the habit of doubt, of guilt, of unworthiness, of fear, anxiety, if we look at what the habit brings up, we find out that those responses also don't have any solid, independent existence. They also dissolve. They're not stable, they're not steady, always fixed somewhere. They come together because of the causes and conditions of habit. And it's also very possible then, because the habit is impermanent by its nature, we can change that habit. It's not something, it's not a part of our clear, light, aware mind. It's actually just some habit that arises through unawareness, through habit that we developed without knowing that that's how we were choosing again and again to respond to a situation. So we don't need to feel that it's a solid part of who we are. Indeed, it's not at all a solid part of anything. And so with spaciousness and with compassion, we start to feel hopeful that this habit not only can transform, but will totally disappear altogether. And as that pattern loses its strength and power over our mind and over our own emotional response, our own physical response, our verbal response, we can then also heal and change the wounded awareness that arises as guilt, as shame, as anxiety, as doubt, as despair. We can let go of that as well, because that doesn't have any solid, existent, permanent hold over our emotions. These are very temporary, fleeting experiences that begin to really show their true nature through awareness. It's like that these habits that are really difficult for us exist a lot in the dark parts of our unawareness. And as soon as we start to put some awareness on it, it's like turning a light on. And the dark and the light don't coexist. As soon as the light of awareness comes on, it's like, oh yes, there's that empty habit, not solid, not who I am. not real in and of itself, just a pattern. Wow, how wonderful that is, because we can change a pattern. And how wonderful to meet those very wounded feelings of hurt, shame, blame, doubt, despair with compassion. Like, oh yeah, just feelings, okay. Also not who we are, just experiences. But definitely we want more enjoyable, healthy experiences. So we can let go of those emotions that don't bring us to those places of wholeness, of calmness, of peace of mind. We can accept them as arising, like the waves on the ocean, but then also just dissipating. Saying, oh yeah, okay, just feelings, also empty, also not permanent. And by recognizing that, we create the sense of space, which allows us then to accept the habit, allows us to not have to try to hide that one, allows us to begin the habit and then stop midstream and say, oh no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want that bad habit, especially if it's something that manifests verbally through complaining or blaming or shaming, doubting. As soon as it moves from our mind, our emotional mind, into speech, we can recognize, oh no, there's that habit, I'm going to stop that. It's not about suppressing anything, it's just bringing awareness into, no need to go there, let's just take some patience. Let's just sit and let this have some space. Let's look at this with awareness. What's the state of mind? Okay, just that's the state of mind. Is it a state of mind that I'm going to choose to expand upon or not, or become aware of and say, nope, I don't want that state of mind. And with awareness, let it dissolve, let it transform. That's what awareness can do, is help it immediately transform. So with this example of using the calm abiding, the shamatha, breathing in, breathing out, and then calling up to mind something to work with, that's using the analytical meditation, and then bringing in the wisdom of emptiness, which is meaning nothing concretely has its own capacity to control us at all. And nothing out there can really affect our state of mind if we're really in control of the state of mind. By being in control, I mean being aware, just resting in the natural awareness, not tight control, not trying to make anything happen, just resting in awareness. Should I plug your phone in? Is that the idea? I don't think, yeah, I think that top one will do it. Okay. That's okay. This one. And so who is our guide to do this kind of practice with in our Buddhist practice, but Aryatara? And Aryatara is going to be the one who is going to help us the most. Yeah. So when we need her to build this quality of awareness and the capacity of, it doesn't matter how they see me, but more important to hear me than how I look. We should build this capacity of all-accomplishing wisdom. That's what Aryatara is really the best at, is being able to bring in the qualities. All-accomplishing wisdom means when we become aware of needing help on a pattern, on a habit, on regaining peace of mind, on bringing in powerful compassion that has swift activity, she brings these qualities that are called all-accomplishing wisdom. And one of the ways she does that is through the awareness of what helps in a moment, which is to remove anger, to remove ignorance, and to remove desire, attachment. So she helps us remember we're not going to grasp for a particular outcome. We're not going to be averse to what's happening to us. And also we're not going to ignore what's happening to us. We're going to show up just with that awareness of knowing, what's going on, and looking at it with clarity and with wisdom and compassion. And so the white Tara meditation that we'll do now is a longevity meditation. White Tara is to increase our lifespan. It's working actually on our physical level by mentally helping us to maintain, to first of all cultivate and then maintain peace of mind. Because if we have peace of mind, then our physical being is really much healthier. We know that even through the immunology studies that scientists have done. They've looked at the immune system of meditators and non-meditators, and they've looked at what's happened for meditators when they're confronted with difficult scenarios or difficult stressor situations, and they go into meditation, and biologically they don't produce the same kind of stress hormones, and they maintain like a higher level of white blood cells, which are physiologically better for our health. And when they do the same test with those who don't know meditation, what happens is their stressor hormones elevate, as well as their white blood cells being depressed. And that means there's a strong biological link between the state of peace of mind and then our physical well-being, our health. So this is why we're practicing patience, because if we can use every part of our practice to reinforce the peace of mind, this is reinforcing longevity, reinforcing the physical, biological health, reinforcing the immune system. So Arya Tara is known to increase longevity. I don't know if the Tibetans knew, the biology part of it, but they knew it worked for their own health and happiness. And they knew in their life community, if people were really serious practitioners, they were old, they might be missing teeth, they had wrinkly skin, but if they were happy, they lived into their 80s, into their 90s, and in very harsh conditions. But because of their practice being so strong, they had peace of mind. And therefore, even though they didn't have many teeth, they'd chew longer on, with their 3 teeth that were left, they'd chew longer on their mutton or whatever, but they'd still be enjoying it. They knew how to take their time. They knew how to take time in their practice, not to feel despair, not to feel discouraged by losing the physical health, teeth falling out, rain destroying crops, countries invading. They carry on, And so this is why we're going to do this Arya Tara meditation, because we need to continue to cultivate these qualities of the mind muscle of being able to carry on with patience and humor through anything that's going to arise in our life. I mean, hopefully none of us listening is getting down to just 3 teeth, but imagine if your peace of mind was so strong and your joy was so exuberant that wouldn't even be a big deal for you to be down to 3 teeth. So, I mean, that's honestly for me a hard one to get to in my mind stream, but more power to those practitioners for having so much faith in Arya Tara. So for this guided meditation, you can close your eyes. And if you don't know what white Tara looks like, she's very radiant, pure, clear white, like transparent white light, only made of light, effervescent. She's got 7 eyes. She's got her 2 eyes on her, where her normal eyes are on her face. She's got a 3rd eye in between the 2 eyes, her wisdom eye on her forehead. Then she has 2 eyes on 1 eye each on the palm of each hand, and 2 eyes, 1 each on the on the bottom of each foot. So she has 7 altogether. And this signifies that she's omniscient. She sees everything as it really is, internally, externally, and transcendentally. She's already awakened. She's the female Buddha, the mother of all Buddhas. And her dedication and prayer and her own heartfelt prayer that she made was to remain to be available to beings until samsara is emptied. And so she's just waiting for us to call on her for aid. And so we can bring her to mind, even if you can't bring a picture to her to mind. She's very beautiful and lovely. Her right hand is out in a blessing gesture, mudra, over her right knee, with her hand, her palm turned up. Or in other words, she's saying, what do you need, my darling? Here it is. I'm going to give this, whatever you need, you just request. And her left hand is at her heart with her ring finger touching the thumb. That signifies she's completely primordially purified of all the afflictive emotions from her mind stream. She has no more ignorance, no more desire, no more hatred, no more pride, jealousy, nothing of any of the dangerous emotions. They've been all purified. She's able to help us completely. And she's holding the stem of a flower called an Utpala flower, which is a magical medicinal flower found high up in the Himalayas. And that's a healing flower. So she's ready. She's gazing at us like a mother looks at her only child, willing, if need be, to give her even her life for that child's happiness. And now Aryatar is asking, how can I help you? And we just think in our heart minds, oh, Aryatar, omniscient mother, knower of all qualities of enlightened mind, we ask for your blessings to help our mind transform, to remove anything that are obstacles blocking us from knowing this enlightened mind, so that we ourselves may be completely separated from ignorance, completely separated from desire, selfish desire, completely separated from the poisons of hatred and aversion, anger, completely separated from pride, jealousy, envy, completely separated from impatient and all the other 50 obstacles of negative emotions that keep us from our peace, keep us from our immeasurable loving kindness, our immeasurable joy, sorrowless bliss, our immeasurable compassion, our immeasurable equanimity. They keep us from our perfect happiness. So we're asking for your help. Please come now into our heart center and merge your mind with each of our mind. And then if you can, in your heart center, you feel that she's there in the form of a very bright white light, a pearl of light sitting in your heart center between your two breasts, between your nipples. There's right in the center of your body and between. She's glowing up in a very tiny, tiny pearl, but a very bright white light, pure light. And from that emits rays of white light, and around you and encompassing you are white light of an egg, egg-shaped light that's outside of you about 3 feet away from you, but encircling you, an oval-shaped egg of light that's also radiating more pure white light within and without. It's turning slowly to the right. And now you feel also that you're just suspended in space. You're in this light, realm of light, of awareness. Without any heaviness. If you feel any heaviness anywhere, let the light from Aryatar's heart light into your center just dissolve that. Send it with your awareness to wherever you're feeling that heaviness. Outside of the egg of light, envision flames of dancing fire, burning up any obscurations, any obstacles. And now straight up from the crown of your head, imagine the white light radiates a beam and encircles you going clockwise from the top over towards your right shoulder and around underneath your buttocks and then up over the top of the left shoulder, but a very big circle. So this is outside of the flames. It's in the space that you're in. A very bright white light circle creates around you a full 360 degrees of white light. And this light is from Aryatara. This is pacifying light. It's pacifying any of our habits that don't serve our highest awakening. It's pacifying any obstacles that keep us from our immeasurable loving kindness, our immeasurable compassion, our immeasurable joy, our immeasurable equanimity. Any doubts, despairs, anxieties, judgments, everything is pacified by that white light. And now, with a gap of about 6 feet from that white light and from a ray of golden yellow light at your heart center, which is really Aryatara's light merged with yours, a golden yellow light emerges straight up. And again, beyond the white light circle, from the right to the left in a clockwise fashion, creates another golden ring beyond, about 6 feet beyond the white light. A golden ring moving from the top of your head over your right shoulder in that direction, down towards your right hip and then under your buttocks, over towards the left hip and up toward the left shoulder. And then it comes full circle to the top of your head with a golden yellow light that's even bigger than the white light. It's out and beyond that one. And this golden yellow light is radiant, pure, bright, and it's full of all-accomplishing, instant settling equanimity, putting everything in the nature of blissful compassion. Anything that would happen that you would perceive to be arising from outside of you, any emotional feeling that you perceive to be arising from within inside of you, any old habits that arise that you may perceive as habits of your mind, everything is put into the nature of blissful joy and equanimity, just being made of awareness, not grasping at all. Golden light that brings all accomplishing activities of awareness. You can think of it as like your bodhicitta, the sunshine color. Now, beyond this yellow golden light, again, another 6 feet, even a bigger circle's coming from a very ruby red light at your heart center, which is really Aryatara's and your own mind merging. Straight up to over the top of your head, beginning even beyond that golden light, a red ruby light starts up and moves in the direction to the right over your right shoulder, down beneath towards the direction of your right hip, beneath your buttocks, and encircles you by coming up full circle past the left hip, up towards the left shoulder, and then all the way again, concluding in another concentric circle to the top of the head in ruby red light. Radiant, clear. And this has the power of Aryatara's infinite compassion. Her eternal love, immeasurable love. That's her superpower. This will dissolve any obstacles, any blocks, any mistakes we make in our own thinking, any habits we hold on to that no longer serve us. This will dissolve those instantaneously. Our own wrong views, our own wrong way of thinking about things that are hidden in ignorance, mind habits that we're really held in ignorance of. We just don't even have to think about them. We just invite this awareness to dissolve them, as seeing their true nature, being very empty, non-solid, not real. Laughable, in fact. She's laughing and inviting us, saying, "Oh, my dear child, don't take it so seriously. It's really everything quite just fine. The perfect happiness." Now, beyond this red ring, even greater ring, we see the light in the heart center turn to indigo blue. And again, at the top of the head, it circles around, right to the left, and leaving 6 feet in between the red and the blue ring, we feel this indigo coming radiantly, encircling us in this huge indigo blue light now. So down below, we see a big red light, and the next one down is the yellow, and then a white one, then the flames, then ourselves, very white, pure, with Aryatara's blessing at our heart center. And this indigo light brings the power of Aryatara's transcendental wisdom. This is affiliated often with our third eye, our deep knowing that's happening on a very subliminal level and sometimes a very intuitive level. This clear indigo light that guides us and helps us know without needing physically to be someplace, know how things are. Full of wisdom and compassion, full of awareness, fully at peace, never completely stable. The mind unshaken, we could call that one. The indigo mind, the third, sixth mind, we can say, the sixth mind. And then beyond the indigo circle, we go now, the light center in our heart center turns to emerald green, and an even bigger circle above the indigo circle, 6 feet away from that one, again at the top of the crown and going from the right to the left, we feel this indigo light circling us down in the direction to our right shoulder, down to our right hip, underneath our buttocks, then to the left hip, up towards the left shoulder, and coming, enclosing us fully in this beautiful emerald green light. Radiant, pure, clear green light. And this green light is the actual stabilization of all the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That is unchanging. It is the swift, all-accomplishing wisdom that will be with us, reminding us of wisdom and compassion with every breath, deeply connected, breathing in and breathing out with this green light. The deep peace of mind that's present to us in every breath and helps us to remember that we're never separated. There's a fresh quality about this one. It's not existing in the past. It's not somewhere out in the present, in the future. And even if we look carefully to try to pinpoint it in the present, we really don't need to examine or try to control. We just rest with awareness, the way we do in shamatha, breathing in, breathing out, just resting in the stability of this also all-accomplishing wisdom and presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And the final one is the purple light. So now the heart center turns to a bright, beautiful purple. And up above the green light, we again draw an even greater, large purple outer circle, 6 feet beyond the green emerald circle, starting above the crown and going from the right to the left, down towards the right shoulder, the right hip, underneath, up towards the left hip, the left shoulder, and then joining again at the top and closing and encircling this entire rainbow display of lights with the sealing it with the purple outer layer. This purple one is indestructible. Aryatar said, even at the end of an eon's age, through raging fire and destruction of world systems, my blessings will remain intact, enclosed by this purple layer, which can never be penetrated, never can be diminished, depleted, or destroyed. It's like space. No matter what we do in space, rocket ships fly through it, hurricanes come through, tsunamis, tornadoes rather, airplanes, everything can come through. But we know that space is not harmed. Space is indestructible. And Tara said, this outer layer, these blessings, this promise will hold the other layers as indestructible. They're all held within this protective outer ring. So now we remember this outer ring of this amazing, beautiful purple protective layer that holds all of these blessings. We fill the space in between now with her Utpala flower, which is a very beautiful blue lotus-like flower. If you don't know what it looks like, you should look it up online. Utpala, Utpala. You can find pictures of it if you look it up. We fill in all the space, beginning up at the top again, going from the right to the left, filling in between the purple and the indigo light, filling with light flowers, also made of light in between, filling all that space with Utpala flowers. We go to the next layer down from the indigo light, from the green, the purple to the green light, filling with flowers. We go from the green to the indigo, the spaces in between, again, filling with the Utpala flowers. Beautiful, just floating in space. We go between the green and then the red lights circles, and we fill that space with countless Utpala flowers. We go between the red and the golden light and fill that with countless beautiful, glorious Utpala flowers. We go between the yellow golden light and the pure white light, the clear light, and fill that space with beautiful Utpala flowers. And then we've arrived back close to the center of all these circles where the flames of the wisdom that burn up any obscurations, any obstacles are dancing. And then we see ourselves again within the white egg of light, shining, resplendent with Tara's blessings of omniscience, of immortality, the essence that is beginningless, endless, that knows the true nature of everything. That white light pearl is still in our heart center now, surrounded with these beautiful rainbow-like colors of concentric circles that we remain within. And on top of Aryatara's head in the middle is Amitabha Buddha, Amite in the form of Amiteus. This is the Buddha of complete compassion and discriminating awareness, holding a vessel of Amrita, of nectar. And this fills and overflows. He's the meditative Buddha. He's very red in color, and his hands are in his lap holding a vessel. And in it is Amrita Bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, filling and overflowing, coming right down through the crown of your head and filling every aspect of your being, every cell, every space, with beautiful nectar, blissful, cleansing your body, speech, and mind, purifying everything into the innate, natural, primordial purity of joy and awareness. And now we'll recite just 21 mantras because we've gone a little bit over time. We started a little bit late, so we're going a little bit over time. Just Om Tari Tutari Ture Swaha, 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 Tari Tutari Ture Swaha, Om 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 Tari Tutari Ture. So now we just thank our Yatara for her guidance and blessing, for her promise to remain until samsara is emptied through wisdom and compassion to bring the all-accomplishing wisdom. We remind ourselves that we want to practice every day that we can on the hour, bringing awareness back to just awareness of what's going on. We don't need to change anything. We're just checking in to bring awareness of awareness in that moment, on the hour, each hour, just once every hour. We don't have to try for even 3 times. If we can set a little alarm on our clock, we can use that as a reminder. That's okay. But let's try to make this for our practice this week, to practice our patience by bringing awareness back as often as possible, but at least once an hour. What's our state of mind? Maybe offering also some mantras of the Tara, Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha, throughout the day, but maybe on the hour, offering 21 Tara mantras to increase our connection with and empower our practice to bring the healing of these patterns that we're working with, increasing our patience, our loving kindness, our joy, compassion, equanimity. Just like us, everybody wants happiness, does not want the suffering. So we dedicate tonight's main meditation moment of Tashi Getseling. We dedicate to the happiness of all mother beings. May all the merits of our practice immediately bring benefit to oneself and all other mother beings, especially to the Dharma. May our merits expand and multiply just in the same way as Manjushri and Samantabhadra, the all good. We give away the merits and dedicate in the same way that they did, in order to achieve the same results they did as swiftly as possible, to be freed from samsara and complacent nirvana, and to be a joy and an aid to all until all attain such qualities. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this main moment. Nice to see you. We send you lots of warm wind and sunshine from New Mexico, Santa Fe. And pray that your practice is giving you great support and growing, and that we will see you again in a few weeks on May 22nd for the next Maine Moment meditation moment, Monday Maine meditation moment. And until then, stay happy and healthy and keep practicing.
Thank you.
Thank you.